Hey everyone, today I want to compare three cameras. The Lumix G7, it's a $300 camera. The Nikon D5300, it's around, I think you can find this one for about $400 right now. And I've got the Sony A7 III. This is around $2,000 camera. With this lens, we're around 2,700 euros. And I really want to show you the dynamic range of each of the cameras. I've been telling you guys to get Nikon for landscape forever because they've got amazing sensors. They're designed by Nikon, made by Sony, and I just want to show you the difference and also the difference between shooting in RAW and JPEG. We've got a really tough scene here. We have the interior here that is very dark, not lit up, and we have the outside that is very, very cloudy, so it's not super, super bright, but still a very high dynamic range for the sensor to capture. So I'm going to try to expose each camera as the same way, so I'll overexpose a bit, and then I'll take a few shots and then choose which ones are the closest to each other so they can have a fair comparison. So let's do this. I'm going to shoot as fast as possible so the light doesn't change as well. Sony has an amazing sensor. DxO marks it as a 14.6, I think, or 7 dynamic range stops of dynamic range. I think this one is around 14, and I think the G7 is around 12 stops or even lower. All right, so here are the photos, and the first shots in red are the Sony, and you have the Nikon in blue and the Lumix G7 in green. And what I did is underexposed to start with, and then I went up and up in exposure. And the goal is to find where the image, the sky starts to clip. And here you can see it just starting to clip. You can see the red is appearing here, and that means that the whites are clipping. So these are shot at f10, ISO 100 and 1/40th of a second. And for the Nikon, it actually ended up being the same. You can see it starts clipping a tiny bit here. So we're going to go to the next one, and it's 1/40th of a second, f10, ISO 100. So same exposure, and they look very, very similar. Then the Lumix, let's go for them one by one. You can see the sky is still good. Still good. It looks white to us, but if it's not clipping, then you're still good to go. And here it is. So the shot was at f9. I should have shot at f10, but ISO 200 is the minimum for the G7 and 1/60th of a second. So now the goal is to see how much I can recover from the sky and how much I can push the shadows to get a normal exposure. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring down the highlights until the clippings are gone. You can do even more. And then I'm going to bring the shadows up, 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 up. So that's with the G7 Lumix. And it's pretty impressive. You do have some grain, obviously, that appears because you're pushing the shadows. But frankly, I was actually surprised at how much I could bring back. And obviously, I would work with the curve, bring down the curve to make it look less HDR looking. But that's not what we want anyway. We just want to see how good you can recover the shadows with each one. And here's the Nikon D5300. So I'm going to bring down the highlights and bring up the shadows. So I'm at plus 90. How much was I with the Lumix? Plus 98. So I pushed a little bit more on the Lumix, but they look very similar. And it looks much cleaner on the Nikon. It's not as grainy. For the Nikon, I focused on the speakers and not the background, so sorry for that. But super clean image, very, very clean image. But I'm not surprised because I already know this camera and it has a great, great sensor. Now comes the king of the dynamic range. So let's bring back the highlights. Let's bring it down to 100 and bring the shadows up. I think that's good. I'm at 88. And look how clean it is. So little grain. It's super, super clean. This is what I love with Sony sensors and Nikon sensors. And I think the sharpening is at 40. Noise reduction is at 0. So I could even, add more noise reduction. I go to negative 30. Bring back some sharpening, maybe at 60. And then it's just a super clean image. No problem using this. Look at the blacks. the nice, fantastic image. So let me undo the sharpening and the noise reduction. And let's see them side by side now. Nikon versus Sony. Got the Nikon on the right, Sony on the left. Nikons are very punchy. The reds are super, super punchy. So don't focus on the sharpening because Sony is focused on the tree in the back and the Canon is focused on the speakers. But let's look at the grain, and yeah, Sony is much, much cleaner than Nikon. I know the D5300 sensor is not the best. I know that the 7200 has an amazing sensor, actually the best sensor of all APS-C. You would get a better result than the D5300. But super impressive. You look at the image, it's very similar. You got a $2,000 camera on the left, and you got now a $500-ish camera. I can easily find it for $500. Very, very impressive. All the highlights in the sky is recovered. Very, very impressive. Let's look at the G7 versus the Sony. Sony's on the left, G7 on the right. And once again, the reds are very much redder on the Nikon and the Lumix. Sony's doing something differently with the reds for sure. And here you see the big difference between the sensors. This is a micro four thirds sensor, 16 megapixels, and it just gets very, very grainy once you push the shadows. Now the Lumix on the right compared to the Nikon D5300. The Nikon is a cleaner, not by much though, but it is cleaner. You can really tell the details of the knobs here is just very, very much gone. You can barely tell that there are screws here. So you do have a much better sensor with the Nikon. And yeah, look at the much, much cleaner, an amazing sensor. I do recommend this camera for landscape photography because it is such a great camera. Now let's see who can recovers the highlights better. So this was borderline, overexposed. This is very, very much overexposed. So let's bring down the highlights on the Sony. And you still have a lot of details. Yes, some parts are crushed, but that will happen no matter what because the sun is so powerful. Now let's see the next one. Ooh, let's bring back. Yeah, so now we're clipped. This is definitely not recovered. And I'm at 1/25 of a second, f10 and ISO 100. Let's see if the Nikon does better in the highlights. I know that Canon actually does an amazing job on the highlights, and Fuji. I really want to test out Fuji for that because they really, really are amazing for recovering highlights. All right, bring this down, and ooh, yeah. Oh, that's the Lumix. I thought that was a Nikon. I was gonna say. So the Lumix is already gone here. You really lost a lot of details already in the highlights. Same for here. I could just bring the exposure down. It would be the same as highlight, pretty much. And yeah, it's gone. It's definitely gone. Let's look at the Nikon now. So this is what we did here. We know we recovered all the highlights. And let's look at this one. Easy peasy. Yeah, this is a usable photo for sure. It is a bit more burnt than the Sony, I would say. The settings are 1/30th of a second, f10 100. And the Sony here was at 1/30th. It's a very close call. I would say that they're the same right now. Now this is, oof. Yeah, they're gone. Highlights are gone at 1/20th of a second. And I would say the Sony did a bit of a job here, but it was a 1/25th of a second. So I would say those two are very, very close in terms of dynamic range. Sony has the edge in details, I would say. It's less grainy for sure, but Nikon does a really good job for 1/4 of the price. I did take a shot with me in front of the camera, if I can find it, here we go, to see well, just how much it could recover and how well it would recover my face and the details. And so let's bring the highlights down. Highlights are perfectly recovered. And let's bring brightness down a bit. Here we go. I would do this. Tough call, but you can clearly see me. The focus is behind me. I focused on the speakers behind me. But yeah, it's not bad. Really not bad. I mean, I pushed the shadows all the way to 100 and the highlights all the way down to 100 as well. So negative 100. So very impressive. Let me do a copy paste here so I can just copy the settings to the Nikon. All right, so this one looks more like it. It's 1/30th of a second f10, and let's see what this one was. 1/60th of a second f10. So this was darker. This was more underexposed than this one. All right, so now let's bring the highlights down, shadows up. And this is what the Nikon looks like. I could just bring this down a bit just to maybe give it a bit more pops, a little contrast, but that's not bad at all. That is really not bad at all. I focused on the back so it's not on my face, but hey, this is not bad. Let's compare the two. Nikon on the left, Sony on the right. I have to say, I do like the skin tone on the Nikon better. It's more pleasing. This looks a bit more, I will say muddy. I don't know how to name it, but obviously the skin tone is always more yellow with Sony, and some people hate it. I don't particularly like it, but there you have it. So this is at 1/125th of a second, and if I'm gonna bring back the shadows, look at that. It really, you cannot push it too much. There's like a sweet spot that you have to really be careful with the Nikon D5300. Now this is the Lumix. I'm at 1/25th of a second, f10, so the highlights might be crushed and not, yeah, can't recover that. Let's see. So that's 1/250th of a second, so yeah. Definitely didn't do a good job here. I could have brightened the image more right off the bat, and I didn't. So this is not looking good at all. Definitely, I burned the highlights on this one. I mean, I don't even have to recover the shadows because I'm perfectly exposed, and there's nothing that I can do for the highlights. All right, that's it, and thank you for sticking all the way till the end. So what did we learn with this video? Well, that Sony makes great sensor. Nikon has also amazing sensors. For the price, the D5300, you can find it for easily 250 euros used or 300 euros used, and you have yourself an amazing landscape camera. And I always tell people to go for Nikon if you want to do landscape, not just because of the sensors, but the lenses as well. I'm making a video that compares all the camera brands for the APS-C sensor, not the full frame, and comparing the prices with 6 main lenses. And right off the bat, the Sony is at least almost twice as much as Nikon or Canon when you include all the lenses. And I was pleasantly surprised with the G7. It really holds up pretty well while, you know, trying to recover the shadows and also recover the highlights. But compared to Nikon or Sony, it really falls apart fairly quickly in comparison. I did not want this video to be too long, so I did not do the comparison with the JPEG. I will do that in my next video. So if you want to see that, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the like button if you did enjoy this video. And let me know in the comments below what camera you think is the best for landscape photography, because that's always a big question that people ask me. And my answer is always Nikon for that reason, the price and the sensors. That's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.